In the Pisces shadow, martyrs rise as mirrors. Virgo's eclipse calls. Embrace purity. Humanize the heart. Your soul's bloom awaits. Unfold. This solar eclipse in Virgo is a story of fighting for purity within the sacred crucible of spiritual awakening. There is abundant ignorance, casting shadows everywhere we look. A gentle confusion between what is real and what dreams. And yet, a higher level of consciousness is blossoming amongst us. An awakening we haven't felt in ages. What if this is your call to weave it even brighter? This eclipse asks us to choose purification over performative purity. If purity is truth in action, this week is our soul's invitation. Virgo purifies by touching truth. In a world of curated feeds and curated dreams, hygiene looks like this. Verify with care, humanize with love, and cradle every child beyond the noise of argument. Compassion knows no borders. When innocence shines amid the storm, purity lifts it as a beacon for all. Before I dive into the solar eclipse and all the planetary players involved, I want to provide context by revisiting the previous lunar eclipse that occurred on September 7th. As many of you saw from my previous video, this was a whopper. Total eclipses are commonly hallmarks of significant change in the world, created by profound catalytic events that send a shockwave through the field. Here's a quick snippet of things I said before in that video. From the evolutionary astrology perspective, a total lunar eclipse is the collective shadow flooding awareness. Karmic truths stop taking no for an answer. Pisces is also vulnerable to deception, including self-deception, as a way to sidestep pain or conflict. When trauma is activated, the present blends with the past. By definition, there's some distortion there. Beliefs sculpted around old wounds can tilt perception towards delusion and confusion, which is the Piscean fog. Combine Virgo's judgment shadow with Pisces confusion, and you get projected delusion, seeing your pain on other people and prosecuting it. Large groups of people across the world can watch the same events and perceive opposite meanings. Same facts, different films. Another classic archetype for Pisces is that of the martyr. During Pisces eclipses, a soul may rise as a mirror, offering itself for a greater truth, rippling through us all. The recent loss of Charlie Kirk, brutally murdered in front of his family, was heartbreaking. No one deserves such an end. And though I may not align with all his views, archetypally, his passing echoes as the martyr's call. A life cut short, a shockwave that invites us to reflect beyond any divide. As this occurred, Mars was transiting in Libra and dancing across his Libran sun, opposed by the moon from Aries, triggering across the justice axis. Grief is not partisan. If you want me to take a look at Charlie's chart in a different video, let me know in the comments below. Since he was a devout Christian, I'll mention what the Christians call the Second Coming. Other traditions speak of awakening, bodhicitta, or return of the Sacred Heart. Whatever your language, the gist is the same. A surge of courage, compassion, and sacrificial love moving through people. And as that current brightens, polarity softens into clarity. The true shines brighter, and the illusions fade. More light reveals the wounded and the wise. My sense about this is moments like this tilt timelines towards awakening. Imagine it in your own chart. What surge rises for you? I've said on this channel before, it feels like we are in a race between enlightenment and extinction during this technological revolution. I've also said that whether we land on a more utopian or dystopian timeline depends on the average level of spiritual consciousness in the collective. This catalyst has sparked a surge towards growth, and now the possibility of a brighter world blooms within our reach. With all that being said, let's pivot to the upcoming solar eclipse on September 21st. It's occurring directly opposed Saturn in Neptune in retrograde. Mercury is also emphasized here because it rules the sign of Virgo and it's right next to the eclipse. However, it is in a different sign of Libra. Mars is square to Pluto. And lastly, Venus is square to Uranus. A lot to unpack here. Collectively, a solar eclipse is a node-linked new moon that rewrites the group script. Sun and moon fuse on the karmic axis, and a fresh myth gets greenlit. Narratives pivot, power reorganizes, and the culture's compass snaps to a new north. Personally, it's ignition. The sun in your chart represents will and your own identity, and that is merging with the moon, which represents our heart, our soul, and our emotional needs. This invites a fresh expression of self that actually feeds your deepest instincts. Where the eclipse lands by house and sign marks the arena of your rechoosing, whether it be about work, home, partnership, money, body, or voice. So the next chapter is authored from alignment rather than autopilot. I will discuss how to work with these energies on a personal level later in this video. Virgo at its best accelerates growth through the Virgin archetype, strengthening purity as impeccability. During this eclipse, we're invited to analyze and refine. Here's the ideal, and here's the real. Personally, here is what I am, here is what I could be. The word should fuels motivation without shame. To be impeccable, aiming for perfection as a worthy guide, not as an impossible demand. However, it is a double-edged sword. Weaponized, it breeds self-doubt or judgmental cuts. Virgo's fear drains life inward or lashes outward. If righteousness hides, Virgo names it. How will you wield this with grace? Virgo is also the servant archetype. This eclipse catalyzes a major upsurge in service to others over service to self. A general helpfulness is increasing substantially. With the eclipse opposite Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Pisces, spiritual beliefs want to be grounded into service. On the flip side, some people may become subservient to their beliefs if those beliefs are not aligned with truth. In that scenario, they become more mindless servants on autopilot, sleepwalking towards a service that isn't actually service. I'm not here to litigate geopolitics. I'm here to read the sky and counsel heart-forward action. Protect the innocent. Keep your soul clean while you act. You will hear extremes, some theatrical, some real. Either way, the principle holds. In conflicts near and far, where flags fly high over forgotten faces, the stars whisper the same. Humanity first, always. Neptune and Saturn opposed the eclipse highlight the spiritual awakening we are all in. Back in March, I did a video on Neptune entering the sign of Aries. Let's take a listen. Entering into a phase of spiritual warfare, the spiritual war at full intensity. This is the classic battle between good and evil. I see religious extremism going bonkers in the coming years, going in kind of a battle rage mode. But the good news is Darkness cannot withstand the light of the sun. And much like the darkness is coming out to a great degree, so too is the light. Neptune in Aries, another way we could describe it is as divine will. In plain speak, light clarifies, shadow amplifies. Faith fuels symbols strapped to harm or mercy. One path sanctifies hurt, the other help. The work is discernment. Virgo offers the blade, devotion through purity and practice. Separate signal from costume. If it liberates and heals, it is true. If it confuses or dehumanizes, it's a mask. Myths demanding dehumanization, mere masks. Compassion needs a spine or it's not real. When innocence faces artillery, purity chooses the child. I know many of you hold very different views about various conflicts and about power. Me too, I hold tensions. But astrology asks for something simpler. Protect the innocent and keep your soul clean while you act. What if the real purification starts there? In refusing to let any story eclipse a single soul's light. Mars square Pluto is pressure at a boiling point. The god of war Mars is provoking the lord of the underworld. Mars triggers, Pluto extremizes. The lower octave, we have rage, coercion, power plays, spiritual posturing. The evolutionary intention is surgical. Lance the boil, bring air to the infection, begin renewal. Think Virgo, precision over drama. Name the toxin, make the cut, clean the wound. Let what's false die so something living rises. The old spell is wound, leading to rage, leading to retaliation, leading to new wound. Break the cycle. Choose remedies over retribution. Collectively, this can inflame wars of ideology, dogmatism, and fanaticism. Spiritual awakening in disguise. This isn't left or right, it's human. Any flag can be used to sanctify a tantrum. When flags get louder than funerals, you've left the path. The work is to channel force into clean action instead of performing pain. On a personal level, it calls for disciplined courage. Fear is not your ally now. Neither is passivity. Confront with love and light. Be the protector, not the provocateur. Mars square Pluto exposes corrupted architectures within systems and within self. So let discovery serve regeneration. Compost the garbage, grow a garden. Clarity isn't cruelty, it's care with a backbone. Taking this a layer deeper, we find Venus squaring Uranus. The classic fortune teller prediction is, you will get a divorce during this time. Low probability prediction, but sometimes it lands. The higher octave expands wider. Under judgment's glare, collectives splinter. During this time, I do see large groups of people divorcing from each other, so to speak, and shedding stale ties, trauma bonds, inherited loyalties that blind us, even our own news diets. This does drive us further apart, widening polarity. Yet, clarity's gift opens space for truer unions, built upon reciprocity, reality, and shared hearts. Love levels up when conscience awakens. The clearest love, an honest release. To work with this energy personally, claim differentiation over disconnection. And this connects to more than just marriages, lovers. It's also about friends, families, communities. And ask yourself the evolutionary question, who would I be if it weren't for this person's influence upon me? And to just seek some space, a sabbatical or a fresh routine, break established patterns of behaviors, don't necessarily break vows, renegotiate one tie, add a novelty, breathe oxygen in. Boundaries guard love through storms. Most connections don't need endings, they just need repatterning. What shift calls to you? This video is generalized for a wide audience. If you want a more tailored guidance, I'm running a limited sale on birth chart and looking forward readings. You'll see a link on the screen and in the description, as well as a pinned comment below. Now, let's move into the protocols that you can use right away. First and foremost, with all this Virgo energy in the sky and Mercury close by to boot, ask the most Virgo question there is. Here is what I am. Here is what I could be. Put turbo boosters on growth, Virgo style. In evolutionary astrology, we care most about psycho-spiritual development. So start with the lab of mind and feeling. Most of what runs you is habitual. Call it about 80% loops of the subconscious mind. So during this very Mercury and Virgo time, track thoughts and emotions. Name what is fear or anger or pride, for example, and write a clear counter intention you can rehearse when calm. Rehearse the virtue, not the story, and then act as if, especially when you feel under pressure. With Virgo, service is also part of this. Pick one practical, useful act each day that upgrades the world an inch. Precision is compassion for your future self. With Neptune and Saturn opposing this eclipse, do the great work the ordinary way. Consistent practice. 10 to 20 minutes daily beats a heroic hour once a week. Meditation makes the subconscious mind malleable. It's where you can pivot the grooves you've just mapped. And at the end of this video, I will share a link on the screen to a very Virgoan meditation I recommend. Use it. Discipline is devotion measured in minutes. As I've felt in my own journey, these small steps build luminous change. In regards to the Mars square Pluto, expect volatility to bubble up. Purge before peace. When the boil hisses, don't add fuel by staring at it. Attention is tinder. Instead, stop, sit, breathe. One hand on the heart, long, slow exhales. On each inhale, invite steadiness. On each exhale, let the static drain. If you like visuals, visualize a soft pink light in the chest for about 9 to 12 breaths, and then rest for 30 seconds. What you're doing is starving the trauma of its only food, which is your fixation. Name the toxin, make the cut, clean the wound, then move on. That's Virgo medicine. The collective field is loud and messy. Knowing the curriculum helps you to hold compassion for those still caught in the fog, and it helps you step around the baited traps yourself. Refuse dehumanization, even when it's fashionable. Let Virgo refine your discernment while Pisces keeps your heart open. Do the interaction, meditation, honest journaling, energy hygiene. Do the outer action, clean speech, real service, clear boundaries. Be a lighthouse, not a loudspeaker. When you choose purification over performance, differentiation over drama, and discipline over doom scrolling, you become a steady signal in a noisy sky, and people around you feel it. As you evolve, the world weaves a tapestry of unity. These are the decisions that bend timelines quietly. These are the core evolutionary intentions, with the goal being to expand our consciousness.